Baseball on CSN Chicago is presented by State Farm. Good day for a cookout at the ballpark. Sox are trying to take Game 3 against the Seattle Mariners this afternoon. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. And the Sox have seen a Mariners team come in here and win a couple of close games, but the Sox are trying to get a look at some of the younger players that might be here down the line.
In a rebuild, you're looking for a foundation, and we've got a few players that are currently here that probably will be a foundation for the future. And this is one of them, Adam Engel, who both ways, offensively and defensively, he's making his mark. Plus, he can steal a bag on occasion. He's been brilliant in the outfield. And then you move on to Tim Anderson, who hit a home run in Colorado. He's got 9 of them this year. And Tim is playing outstanding defense. This was a line drive up the middle, and he took it away, and he hands it off to Matt Davidson. Matt Davidson with 18 home runs in the early going. He's on pace to hit 30 of them. And he's also hitting the ball very well. So those are 3 of the young guys. There's a whole lot more coming down the road. We'll see when they get here. But right now, the 3 we're looking at are doing a nice job.
Mentioned Seattle with those close wins, 4-2 and 4-3. And part of the reason for those victories has been the bullpen.
There's no doubt that when their pen comes in, at least in this series, they're locked down. And we'll take a look at some of the numbers and show you why they've won 2 of the games. Because the bullpen has gone 7 innings, given up just 2 hits and no runs. They've walked only 2, so they don't get themselves in trouble, while fanning 10. And the bullpen has completely shut down the Sox offense. That's the reason why the Sox are trying to scuffle to win the 3rd game of the series.
Sox and Mariners coming up. Game number 3 is on the way this Sunday afternoon. It will be Derek Holland on the mound for the Sox against a major league rookie, and Andrew Moore. His 4th career start comes against Derek Holland and the Sox.
White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. Tested, trusted, Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. By Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Miller Lite, hold true.
Temperate afternoon for baseball here in Chicagoland. The Mariners and the Sox, game number 3 of this series, as Seattle has won a series in this building for the first time since 2007, and it happened because of a 4-2 win on Friday night and a 4-3 win yesterday evening behind James Paxton and Felix Hernandez, the starting pitchers for Seattle. Today, it's Derek Holland on the mound for the Sox to face a team that he knows very well, the Seattle Mariners. This is his 23rd start career against Seattle. He spent so much time with Texas, and they are in division, so Seattle's the team that he's seen second most in his entire major league career.
Well, he should certainly know them, and they should know him. So whoever's got the best stuff today comes out on top.
Here's the 9 for Scott Service. Segura once again at the top of the card, very close to a batting title. Will qualify very soon for that possibility. Then Valencia up to the 2 spot. Cano, Cruz, Seager. Guillermo Heredia in center for Gerard Dyson. Gamble in right. Zunino catches in the first look at Taylor Motter in this series.
Let's take a look at the defense and how they're going to line up behind Derek Holland. Melky Cabrera, Alan Hansen as center field today with Avisail Garcia in right. Then it's Todd Frazier, Tim Anderson, Yomer Sanchez, and Jose Abreu in the infield. Omar Narvaez gets the nod behind the plate. And our Lexus experienced amazing starting pitcher is Derek Holland, who's had a rough time of late. He's 5-9, his ERA up over 5. There you look at the rest of the numbers. 101 hits and 91 2/3. Not what he would pencil it out. So we'll take a look at the umpires for the game this afternoon. Mark Ribbinger has the plate. The crew chief, Tom Hallion, at first, Phil Cuzzy at second, and Vic Carapazza is at third. So on an overcast day, but a day where they say there's not going to be very much of any rain, we're ready for the finale of the series, and I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Jason Benetti.
Stoney, thank you very much. This game 3 has the Sox and Seattle getting together, and we talked about it off air, but the numbers are very striking with the Mariners scoring 4 runs or more. Seattle has hit for 4 runs each of the first 2 games in this series, and Segura goes down the line and foul on the opening pitch. Seattle this year, when scoring 4 runs or more, is 42-15. When scoring 3 or fewer, 3-32. That line of demarcation is very stark.
Unfortunately, been unable for the pitching staff to hold them to 3 runs or less, so they've won a couple of ball games. And Segura tried to jump on the first pitch, did a good job of it, but hit it foul.
.352 batting average for Gene Segura, who's been a good hitter in his career, but this is quite the jump for this season. Segura to right field. Avi Garcia drifting back and collapsing on out number 1.
That ball carried a pretty good distance to right field because Segura did not hit it off the good part of the bat, yet it carried almost to the track, and that's because the wind, and it will be a factor today. That wind is blowing toward the right field corner.
Howling to right field right now. So here is Danny Valencia, who's 1 for 8 in this series, and he had hit in the 6th spot for the most part in this series. But as we've talked about during the last couple of days, he has always been very good against left-handed pitching.
This is why he's still in the major leagues through 7 baseball teams, because he can pummel the left-handers. That's been his MO over the course of his career.
Danny Valencia versus lefties career .319, slugging at .495 as opposed to .248 and .396, so about 100 points different on the slugging percentage against lefties.
And in this game, if you can hit left-handers, you can stay around for a while, because especially soft-tossing left-handers, many right-handers have problems with them.
Holland lays that one in. 2 balls and a strike. Derek in his last start was very fastball heavy, more than he had been this entire season. Ball is ripped down the line and fair for Danny Valencia. And with the ball ending up in the stands being touched, Valencia has a 1-out double.
Well, it's not surprising. He looks so much more aggressive with the left-hander on the mound, and that's exactly what it's been for him. Is he gets something up in the zone and drives it just barely fair, but certainly it is fair. And then a fan does something that you never want to see a fan do, which is touch a ball in play.
But they have rules against it because it's happened before, and it will continue to happen.
It will do that.
You know, sometimes you'll see a sign that suggests an action that you shouldn't do, like do not put hand on stove when lit. And you say, boy, in order for that sign to be there, somebody has to have done that not just once, but a number of times.
Well, they'll continue to do that because that's happened since they started having fans down the lines, and will continue probably forever.
You think we should have stiffer penalties?
Well, I mean, you know, 5-6 years in
Impound
jail,
your car?
probably not so good. Or impounding their car if it's a nice car, especially.
Goes to the Steve Stone Fund. Both cruel and unusual. So Robinson Cano with Valencia at second, as the Mariners have had a hit in each of the first 2 first innings in this series. Yesterday's was a Segura leadoff single, as he was immediately chopped down by Melky trying to stretch it to a double. Well, Derek Holland, it has been either a lot of runs or 1 run allowed in each of his last 5 starts. 2 starts in that span with 1 earned run let up, and then 2 starts with 7 earned runs let up, and there was the 5 earned run day against his former team, Texas. On the ground right side, that will get Valencia to third with 2 down.
Well, there's no doubt that Derek Holland not only knows his club well, he's had tremendous success against them. 13-6 lifetime, 3.57 ERA. That's some pretty big numbers against any opponent. Shows, number one, that they were in his division when he pitched for Texas all those years, and number 2, he didn't miss many starts against them.
He was very good in the start against Seattle back on May the 21st. It was a season best 8 innings, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks for Derek Holland. That was at Safeco Field in the series the Sox won. Only run Holland let up in that game was on a home run from this guy, Nelson Cruz.
Derek is not the Lone Ranger, because this guy has hit a whole lot of them.
He had the game winner yesterday in the 6th inning, and this time he will not homer. He's plunked. And after 2 hit batters in Jose Abreu yesterday, he was hit twice in back-to-back plate appearances. We'll see how many of these there are today.
Well, you'd have to feel that if in fact it was the desire of Derek Holland to express a certain amount of displeasure that Jose Abreu was hit twice yesterday, then you would think that it was message delivered and message understood, and that would be the end of that.
You would hope.
I mean, if that in fact, and we don't know for sure, obviously
You never will.
know. No, you don't know if that was a reaction to what happened yesterday, but when your big guy gets hit a couple of times, sometimes, and not all the time, but occasionally, one will get away. However, Omar was set up inside.
And Seager attacks the next pitch to hit it in the air. Hansen makes the catch, and you at home will play Perry Mason, piecing the evidence together. No score after a half inning. Moore coming out. Today for Ricky Renteria. Melky was very good in the one spot. He goes to 2 today behind Yolmer Sanchez. Then Abreu, Frazier, Garcia, and Davidson. Tim Anderson back at 7. Omar gets the start behind the plate, and Alan Hansen his 4th start in center field.
Let's take a look at the defense, and now Scott Service is going to line them up behind Andrew Moore. It's Motter, Heredia, and Gamble in the outfield with Seager, Segura, Cano, and Valencia in the infield. Mike Zunino gets a nod behind the plate. And our Lexus Experience Amazing starting pitcher is Andrew Moore. This is 4th major league start. What you'll notice is the fastball is not overwhelming, but he has very good command of it. The first inning, where he doesn't have that good touch and feel, is going to be the inning where he might have some difficulties. If he gets through that, he's able to spot all of 4 pitches very well, and that's what you'll see. You'll see a good mound presence, and we'll see if the boys can get to him early.
Andrew Moore, a 2nd-round pick of the Mariners just 2 years ago. He's the only 2nd-round pick from that draft to make it to the major leagues so far. And a strike to Sanchez. 1 ball and 1 strike. 4th career start for Andrew Moore. And it starts with a line drive to left field collected by Motter for out number 1.
That ball hit awfully hard, and Moore's not going to strike out a whole lot of people, so he's going to do what is called pitching to contact, meaning you have to stay around the plate. Yolmer hits it on the screws, but right at Motter.
So 1 down for Melky Cabrera, who was the star offensively for the Sox yesterday. Couldn't get the team over the hump, but his 4-hit game was his 20th with 4 or more hits of his professional career. Fouls it away 0-2 against Moore, who is from the Pacific Northwest. He grew up in Eugene, Oregon, went to North High School there, and then somewhat backward went to Oregon State for school. You don't typically grow up in Eugene and then go to Corvallis for your schooling, but that's what Andrew Moore did, and a nice catch by a fan on that souvenir. A quick worker, Moore.
That's one of the things that we were told we would really like about him. The fact is he gets it and throws it, and that's a good way to keep rhythm. It's a good way to throw strikes if you're in a groove.
Melky a foul ball, and you may remember what he did to start the game yesterday.
That was his 11th, and by the way, the 3rd time this year that a leadoff hitter has taken King Felix deep. So he says that he's got to figure out some way to not have that happen.
That plus 1 other 1st inning home run. He's allowed 4 homers in the 1st inning, which is rather odd for him. Another foul ball from Melky Cabrera. Big trade news before we hit the air today that may affect the Sox in one way. The Nationals have made a deal for their bullpen with Ryan Madson and Sean Doolittle coming from Oakland to Washington for Blake Trinan and a couple of others, including a draft pick from last year, Sheldon Noyce. But we knew Washington needed bullpen help, and a lot of folks talked about David Robertson possibly landing there at some point. But Washington has looked elsewhere for its bullpen assistance.
Well, they got what they wanted because Doolittle was not closing for Oakland, despite the fact that he has been a closer as Melky continues his assault on Seattle pitching.
Fifth hit the last 2 days for Melky Cabrera.
Well, we told you that Moore's not going to have the feel or the command and control in the first inning. If he gets by the first inning, normally that command and control comes to him, but Sox trying to take advantage of a guy that struggles a bit with location early.
Melky cozying up over there at first base with Danny Valencia, hand on his shoulder.
Melky's an amiable man.
A likable feller. Melky with quite a bit of self-applause last night after his defensive plays and his offensive show. So Jose Abreu, who is 0 for 9 in his last 3 games, but still the team leader in runs scored and doubles, 16 home runs as well to go along with the 23 doubles and 3 triples. Opens up and lines this ball foul. Sox come in at 38-51, 9 games off in the Central. Cleveland has fallen on hard times the last couple of days. Seattle 45-47, trying to track down one of those wild card spots. Tampa Bay is actually the leading wild card team in the American League right now.
New bat for Jose after that one splintered. And last night, Jose gets hit twice. The first time, well, never feels good. That was in the 3rd inning, and he got hit hard in the 5th inning. So your big man was hit a couple of different times, and different teams take care of it different ways.
Do they?
They do. Yeah, some just say hang in there and get him some ice. Others say maybe you ought to just get a hitter to move his feet on the other club so that we allow them the knowledge that perhaps we weren't overly happy with our big guy getting hit a couple of times.
Isn't that sentence more concise when it's just spoken as hit a guy?
Well, yeah, but that's not really the goal.
Who are any of us fooling? Whether it be people up here talking or down in the clubhouse who say, "Oh, he's set up inside." What?
Got away. That happens.
I think I like that even less than the "gotta hit a guy because our guy got hit" thing. Uh-oh. That's what they call an unintentional segue in the industry.
Yeah, 2-2 in this situation, you're not going to get him. I mean, that was not the intention of that particular pitch.
Melky at first. He goes, and Abreu pops it up. Back and right of home, Zunino for out number 2. Zunino was going to pull the trigger on a throw, and he almost...
The problem is that when you're looking straight in the face of your first baseman, in this case Danny Valencia, the last thing you want to do is actually unload the baseball because, number one, the closest guy to the bag was Tom Hallion, and number 2, Danny Valencia almost got crushed last night
Yeah, he got corked with the ball down the third base line last night.
Then he got hit, but he almost got killed at first base on a throw, you might remember.
Yeah, that's right. Danny's going to need a bicycle helmet. Here's Todd Frazier to take ball number 1. Yeah, rather treacherous series for Danny.
That'll happen to you on occasion, where you feel like a ball magnet.
Off speed for a big swinging strike, 1-1.
Pretty good straight change, especially when you haven't seen it. And that's one of the things that hitters can't really tell. You can look at video for quite some time. You can't really tell how the ball reacts. And unlike Felix Hernandez's straight change, which goes straight down, this one stays up, but good motion and good arm velocity.
For those uninitiated, why does the arm velocity matter to a hitter?
Because if the arm velocity is the same as a fastball, then you're going to get guys out in front because they can't read it. If the arm velocity slows down or the release point is changed, then a hitter will keep his hands back. So when a hitter who might go out on the front foot, when he keeps his hands back, he's in pretty good shape to hit the off-speed pitch. And that means if you throw an off-speed pitch and the hitter doesn't move his hands, you haven't fooled him. There's no deception. Consequently, if you miss your spot, it's going to get hit hard. If he's out in front and moves his hands, that means that you have deceived him, and even if he gets a base hit, you've beaten him on that particular at bat. So you don't have to change anything.
Throw to first, and Melky's back. Two balls, two strikes on Frazier. Pitch number 23 of the inning for young Andrew Moore is hit high in the air. Guillermo Heredia is underneath, and that is all she wrote for the Sox in the first after the Melky Cabrera one-out single. No score. Chicago is presented by State Farm, and we'd like to welcome all of our viewers watching on Oneida Cablevision in Knox County, Illinois. Hello, Knox County. How are you? You don't speak for Knox County anymore?
I used to when I was a representative of the county, but I became a lineman.
Wichita?
Yes, for the county.
Oh.
And then left, obviously.
Wow. So many people doing so many bits. Here's Heredia to take a breaking ball and a strike at that. Guillermo Heredia, who has been a substitute in each of the first two games in this series. He had a pinch hit a couple of nights ago. And here on 0-1, he lofts the ball into center field. Alan Hansen, not terribly experienced out there, but makes the catch, and one down. The 2017 Chicago White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate, low mortgage rates, and a fast, easy process. Learn more at rate.com. So Derek Holland, who has been quite good against left-handers for his career, 249 they are, just 13 career home runs allowed to left-handed batters.
Gammel's been a very good hitter in this series, and he handles left-handers well. That's one of the reasons why he plays each and every day. Doesn't have big power. He is a contact hitter, but he's shown that he's a pretty good hitter, and he's also shown himself to be a good defender. So although for a corner outfielder he doesn't have the kind of power, run production you would like, he's pretty solid in that lineup wherever Scott Service plays him.
Breaking ball and a strike. 2-1 to Gammel, who hit second in the order each of the first two games. Over from the Yankees, where he was a minor leaguer until last year. To first, Abreu on the pick. And there's out number 2 in the top of the second inning.
Good play by Jose, because you can wait back if you want to, but you take for granted then that Holland is going to get to the bag. Otherwise, you can come in and try to smother the short hop, and that's what Jose did. So you have two choices, the best of which is come in and smother it and take the pitcher out of the equation, is what Jose did, and did a nice job of it.
2 down, base is empty for Derek Holland against Mike Zunino, the 26-year-old former first-round pick. After the first pitch, Zunino in the air to center field. Hansen is there. Couple of fly balls and a ground down. 1-2-3 for Derek Holland, and the Sox go to the bat rack after this in a scoreless tie. Picks to click for it today. You can vote at whitesox.com/pick-to-click. There's a tie atop the leaderboard. Sanchez and Frazier to Steve and the crew. I'll go with Hansen, Avi Garcia to the fans.
Fans got to pick it up, though. I think a little more research on their part, and to me, they're primed and ready for a strong second part of the season.
You've been pitching the fans' second half comeback since the second half began. Is that at some point going to start trickling out of the faucet, or what?
No, I believe that support and encouragement is the way to get the fans a little better pick.
Support and encouragement, 2 pillars of your lifestyle.
My middle name, certainly.
You have 2 middle names?
Yes.
Is there a hyphen? First pitch from Andrew Moore to Avi Garcia. It's hit well. Center field. It carries out of here.
Well, one of the reasons why Avi went down and got the first pitch is that last game, 88.9% of the time he threw a first pitch strike. That was #1 out of every major league starter for his last start. So if a guy's going to be around the plate a lot, just go get him. This looked like a rolling breaking ball that didn't do a whole lot. And Avi hits his 12th, drives in his 52nd. What with the hand injury and all, he had been stuck on 51 for quite some time. So I'm sure he's pretty relieved to get the home run and move to 52 in the RBI column.
And Avi likes to swing at the first pitch anyway, so a bad combination for Moore as Guillermo Heredia started to take apart a piece of guaranteed right field. You saw him grab the yellow line. You don't want to pull the yellow line down, however, because that makes the home run more easily clearing the fence. As Matt Davidson got into a favorable count and hits this pitch in the air, a challenge for Gamble, who makes the catch. Take a look at Guillermo Heredia trying to track down this home run ball.
Actually, it's probably not a terrible idea, except that when you don't know where the ball is and you make that leap, it's very difficult to have it wind up in your glove.
You break it, you buy it, Guillermo. It's coming out of your paycheck.
Unfortunately, making the minimum, not a good thing when you do that.
Todd Benjaminson, our producer, suggests that we put that piece of fence on the prize shelf.
We are getting a little sparse, by the way.
There's some good stuff on there today.
Yeah.
We'll show you in a little while. With the home run, by the way, another generous donation from the Alex Snellius family in loving memory of Ursula. So after allowing the home run on a first pitch to Avi Garcia, Moore has gone 2-0 on the next 2 batters. And he comes back to 2-2 with Tim Anderson, who's got a pair of multi-hit games in his last 4.
I don't believe the Sox lineup should look for a whole lot of walks today. Not that Moore is immune to them, but just that he's not going to do it too often.
And the Sox don't walk terribly often either. At 226 for the year, second fewest to Kansas City in Major League Baseball. On the ground pass, shortstop Tim Anderson flicks a ball to left field for a 1-out single.
Ward took a little something off that, and now Mel Stottlemyre is going to come out to have a word with him. It's a straight change, only this one stayed up. If this one is down, it's probably a different outcome, but the fact that it was up, Tim hit it well. Tonight, former White Sox Tim Raines opens up about his career both on and off the field. A new inside look presented by Cadillac premieres tonight after the White Sox postgame live on CSN or live stream at csnchicago.com/watchlive.
Saw Anderson hit the changeup to left field. That's a pitch that Moore didn't have until a couple of years ago. He was playing with the USA Baseball Collegiate National Team, and the coach, Rob Childress, who's the head coach at Texas A&M, helped develop that changeup. Moore had been working on it, and you've talked about this before. He'd been working on it for 6 years and never really figured out how to throw a changeup. But in his first 3 starts in the majors, he only threw it like 8% of the time the first start, and he's built up to more and more, and we'll see if he stays with it, even with the hard hit ball from Anderson. Omar, a drive to right field. That's deep to right, and it is gone.
That is home run number 1 for Omar. Drives in runs 7 and 8. And we told you the wind is blowing toward the right field corner. That one was not a towering drive, more like a line drive, and it went out of the park. So that fastball right on the inner third, about thigh high. Tailor-made for a left-hand hitter, and it winds up out of the park. How about that?
Second career home run for Omar Narvaez. The first was back in September of last year on the 30th against Minnesota's Pat Dean.
Avi Garcia hit his first home run here in this ballpark since May 13th, which is a bit unusual. Jose Abreu had the same situation with home runs on the road as opposed to here.
Hanson with a fly ball. This will stay in the park. Already dancing with it for round number 2. That's weird. Considering the way this ballpark plays, you would imagine your expectation would be that the Sox splits would be more favorable home run wise at home.
Well, this is an aberration. There really isn't one reason. Now, granted, the weather wasn't great the first couple months of the season, but still, when you have that kind of lopsided split between home and road power, it's more, like I say, it's more the unusual aspect as opposed to a trend.
Robinson Cano throws out Sanchez, but the Sox leave the park twice in the inning and jump on Seattle early in this game. Avi on the first pitch of the inning. Then Omar from the left-hand side makes it 3-0.
Look forward to Miller time later in the game, brought to you by
Miller Lite.
It's a cooperative tease.
Thank you for letting me play.
Least I could do.
And we'll remind everybody later what the Miller moment is, I think is how that works.
Yeah, later in the ball game.
Taylor Motter is the hitter for Seattle. The Mariners with Motter in the 9th spot today and had been the catcher the last 2 days. Zunino and Ruiz. Taylor Motter out of Coastal Carolina University, the national champions in baseball just a couple of years ago. They have back-to-back guys representing national champions the last 2 years. Zunino went to Florida to catcher there, and Motter to Coastal Carolina, each of the last 2 years champions, as Abreu leans to make the play for out number 1.
Motter is their jack of all trades and plays every position and is the emergency catcher if they need that. So another good play by Abreu at first. Got plenty of time, but the throw is off the mark. Jose able to keep his foot on the bag, and Motter got there, but too late.
Segura on the first pitch in the air, left center field. Hansen on the warning track for out number 2.
Allen didn't follow that ball very well and fortunately was able to just snag it at the last moment. The wind was batting it down. It's a good thing that wind is blowing toward the right field corner, because this one, a rolling breaking ball, is hit hard by Segura, who loves to swing early in the count. And there's Allen, who makes the play.
He put up the hand initially thinking that the ball was closer than it was. An objects in the mirror are closer than they appear sort of moment. But he got the job done.
Which in the end result is what you're looking for.
Looks the same in the box score. Strike 1 to Valencia as Derek Holland, who's thrown a bunch of first pitch curveballs today, goes with a fastball to begin Valencia's second at bat.
It's kind of interesting because throughout the various seasons, as you stay in the major leagues, you're facing a team and there's usually different players on that ball club depending on who they acquire, who they trade away. But when you're comfortable pitching against a team, as Holland is with these Mariners, it doesn't matter who they get. You seem to whip up a good one whenever you pitch against them. And this is one of the things, and I know it's going to seem odd, but one of the things that I tried to do as I started to understand more about competing in the major leagues was try to get that feeling that you have against a team you've had success and bringing it over to the teams that give you trouble. It sounds like it might be an easy thing to do. It really isn't. And that's what Derek Holland, that's what he feels like against this team.
Strike 3. That's the first strikeout of our ball game today. Maybe the times are a-changing. 3-0. Sox leading over the Mariners after 2.5. Games you can attend with the White Sox Flex Pass. Purchase 10 lower-level tickets for $200 or 10 upper-level tickets for $70 and have the flexibility to redeem tickets to an upcoming game right from your phone. For more information or to purchase your pass today, visit whitesox.com/flexpass. Sox with a 3-0 lead in inning number 3. Melky, Jose, and Todd coming up. Andrew Moore allowed a couple of home runs in that second inning. Melky with a first inning single for his 5th hit in the last 2 days against Seattle, a team trying to make the playoffs for the first time since 2001.
Moore has now given up 7 home runs in 23 innings of work. That is a whopping total of home runs.
Again, you look at the guys who are up in the majors from that 2015 draft. He is the only second-round pick from 2015 so far to make it up to the majors. Carson Fulmer has been up. He was a first-round pick that season, and a handful of others in that 2015 first round.
Mariners like his pitching acumen. They feel that he's got pretty good sense of moving the ball around and changing speeds. They know that the stuff is not going to be overwhelming. But if you can change speeds and throw off-speed pitches in fastball counts, you usually have pretty good luck.
He took the spot of Giovanni Gallardo, and there you see the notable players to reach the majors: Ian Happ, Andrew Benintendi, and Swanson and Bregman. 1 and 2. Swanson and Carson Fulmer, roommates in college.
Swanson was traded from the Diamondbacks to the Atlanta Braves, along with Ender and Ciarte. Shelby Miller going back the other way. Miller's had lots of arm problems, lost for the year this year, and Atlanta very happy with that deal.
Nice stab by Moore to create out number 1 here in the 3rd inning, as we check in for a Miller Lite game report and Sierra Santos. Sierra?
Hey, Jason, you may have noticed Jose Abreu's slimmed down physique. He tells me he's lost 15 pounds by changing his diet. He says he's more careful and conscientious about what he's eating as he's getting older and nearing 30 years old. So what he's done, he only eats rice once a week, and he says after night games, if he is hungry, he'll drink a protein shake, so he gets most of his carbs in the morning. He loves bread, so he'll eat toast with his eggs. And even though he says he knows it's not the healthiest thing for him, with his breakfast, his favorite thing is a nice glass of Nestle Nesquik strawberry milk.
Huh.
So Jason, Steve, can you blame the guy?
No, it sounds really good, honestly. If you could send up a couple of those, that would be great. It's very much like your diet, isn't it, at age 70, Steve?
It is very different in that, first of all, he gets hungry later in the evening.
Yeah.
I'm asleep for 5 hours at that point, so hunger is not a problem.
You wake up at 4 a.m., go to sleep at roughly 8 p.m. Everything you hear in the 4th inning and beyond is a recording.
Jose does look a little slimmer. I mean, the 15 pounds is noticeable.
Up the middle, and Cano can't flag it down. Yeah, here's the thing about professional athletes. Everybody, whether you're an athlete or whether you're a fan or anybody, we all have our vices, right? Like, he's strawberry milk. Let the guy have a Nesquik every once in a while, but everybody fights it.
Yeah, you have to be able to do something that makes you happy, because as we know, this is not an audition. This is the real thing as we're wending our way through this incarnation.
If we just entered philosophy class, I feel like that got very deep.
I got a D.
In
I got
philosophy?
a good solid D in philosophy, yeah. I was putting Descartes before the horse.
Oh. Now for the 3rd, here's Steve. I think I'm done for the weekend after
Thanks.
that. Wow. Descartes. Ball and a strike on Frazier with Abreu at first. Zunino takes a look over there but does not make a throw. 2 balls and a strike. Andrew Moore, the right-hander out of Oregon State, which had a historically great pitching season this year in college baseball, the best ERA in the NCAA by far. Moore learning under pitching coach Nate Yeskie there. Todd Frazier with a torpedo that's foul, 2-2.
Oregon State has really developed an outstanding baseball program, and it's kind of nice to see schools that historically weren't great suddenly emerge as a place where you go to get some pretty strong talent, and Oregon State's one of those teams.
Jacoby Ellsbury, Michael Conforto, among others. And a throw to first on Abreu, who's not exactly the most likely second base thief out there.
No, I wouldn't think you're going to have to worry about a stolen base here. However, we did see Ruiz on the front end of a hit and run. That was last night.
Jose Abreu, for his White Sox career, has 3 stolen bases. All 3 of them coming in his debut season of 2014. So it's been a while. He's due.
He's saving up. It's good.
And again, with that trimmed down figure, maybe he's not going here. 3-2 on Frazier.
This will be interesting to see if Rick Renteria decides to send him, but got your most recent home run hitter in the on-deck circle.
3-2. Frazier lines it hard, but right at Motter for out number 2. Mentioned that home run from Avi Garcia. It was back in the 2nd inning.
Let's take a look at StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services and AWS. Exit velocity 106.7. Launch angle just under 30 degrees. That was more a line drive rocket. Nice to see Avi coming back after assorted thumb injuries and aggravating that. For a hitter, it's tough to get by. Anything with your hand or wrist, it takes a while. And some guys, they're going to play through it, certainly. It's not bad enough for you not to play through it, but it does affect your swing.
We saw him flexing it in this series even after the All-Star break.
Yeah, he got jammed a couple of times, and it's still talking to him.
Avi came into the day 10th in the American League in batting average at .312. And a mighty fine season that led him to the All-Star game.
I talked to him this morning about that feeling there, and he said, you know, that was just, it was the best. It was absolutely the best. He had a big smile on his face. And you would anticipate he would be at a few more of these. But if he doesn't, he's never going to forget anything that happened over the All-Star 2017 week.
Ball low, 3-1 to Avi Garcia, who's done so much of his damage this year against left-handed pitching, but has not been a slouch against righties at .278. Just that .410 average against lefties is so gaudy.
It was interesting to hear in our interview yesterday with Paul Konerko his evaluation of Avi's new swing this year.
Garcia in the air, left field. Motter back, warning track. Wally's done it twice this afternoon.
Took Avi quite some time to get his 12th home run. It took him one time through the order to hit his 13th. A towering fly ball. This another changeup. And long gone. 6th career multi-homer game for Avi. And for Moore, changeups deep in the count are not working very well for him.
So for Avi Garcia, off that changeup, he has tied his career high in home runs for a season, and it is July 16th.
just by his swing today at a couple of balls that he fouled off, you could tell that thumb is feeling pretty good because he's not favoring it at all. And again, watching him air it out on swings where he doesn't make contact shows you that he's feeling pretty good.
Moore well behind to Davidson now. Matt's lively bat doesn't have a whole lot of compassion in it, and this is a foul ball on 3-1. Moore, through 2 2/3, has faced a grand total of now 14 batters, Davidson being the 15th. No walks, no strikeouts.
He's going to go back and look at the video from this game, and what he's going to notice is that instead of pulling down on the straight change and getting it down in the zone, he has left a lot of straight changes up. The one to Anderson was up, the one to Avi was up. High changeups, I don't care what stage of your career, high changeups are going to get hit awfully hard.
And again, that's a pitch that he hasn't had until the last couple years of his life. He never really had it through high school, through his early part of his time at Oregon State, and finally picked it up in the offseason one year as Pagan gets loose in the Seattle bullpen. A very talented bullpen that hasn't allowed an earned run in the last 10 innings. But they are not set up for success today, certainly trailing by 5 early on. But this is how you want to play Seattle, from ahead, because that bullpen, the headliners there, have some really electric stuff.
Well, the tail end three, Zick, Vincent, and Diaz, 2 nights in a row have been overwhelming. Sox did a pretty good job of trying to make it uncomfortable for Diaz last night. With 2 outs, nobody on, he gave up a hit. Melky kept it alive. He walked Avi and finally got that slider in the neighborhood and struck out Jose to end the ball game.
Matt Davidson will see an 11th pitch in this at bat. Well, Moore is a strike thrower.
He is indeed, and without overwhelming stuff, he's not going to be able to get guys out in the strike zone very often. I mean, but get guys out, I mean throwing it by him in the strike zone. He will depend on guys going out of the zone to get him.
Tried to check his swing, could not, and a long at bat ends in a strikeout for Moore. But the Sox get 2 more off Moore. Avi Garcia with a pair of home runs. This the most recent one. Sox are up 5-0 thanks to their all-star. Chicago White Sox. DeWalt Guaranteed Tough, offering total job site solutions. Robinson Cano will lead off, then Nelson Cruz and Kyle Seager for the Mariners, who are trailing by the count of 5-0. Derek Holland, first pitch strike to Robbie Cano, who's seen Holland as much as anybody in this lineup. This is 50th at bat against Derek. You start playing against the same guy in the division multiple times every year, and the guy stays in the division for a while. With the way the schedule is right now, you can see guys 50-60 times very easily.
And it's not like there's a huge advantage. I mean, you know his stuff, certainly. You know how everything moves, but good pitches get out good hitters. You make a mistake, they make you pay.
Derek Holland throws the glove.
Couldn't get the ball out of it.
Barnum and Bailey at the same time.
And apparently he needs a new glove, because that one probably broke one of the laces. That's a good one, and he couldn't get the ball out, so here, take everything. I'll throw you my hat, too. Behind the back. And then I can't get it out, so here, you take it.
The old kitchen sink play from Derek Holland.
That's actually not the one he was looking for. And because it is a great benefit for a pitcher to have a glove, he would like to get one that he feels will be more comfortable.
Would be rather interesting to see a pitcher out there without a glove. Maybe not for the pitcher.
Not good for the defense, no.
And here comes another glove.
And another look. That part of it's good, and then this part is, well, I can't get the ball out exactly, so I'll throw you everything. That gives us an opportunity, because apparently when you're 11 years old seeing your first major league game, you probably believe that happens all the time because this is your first game and you've seen it. So Patrick DeCurver, 11 years old, from Milwaukee, Indiana, enjoying the game here and seeing something a bit unusual.
Congratulations to Patrick, celebrating his first game. Derek Holland for a while was all out of glove and so lost without it.
And pretty good play. Oh boy.
He faces Nelson Cruz, who he hit last time.
I thought you were on a limited word count today.
This announcer will self-destruct after word number 600. I can see people tweeting right now, I'll take the under.
I'll take the under, huh? No.
One and two on Cruz. And now 2 balls, 2 strikes from Derek Holland, who to this point has had a very strong outing. 3 1/3. He's allowed just 1 hit.
And he's gotten ahead of just about each and every one of these Mariners, who've been aggressive early in the count, certainly, but they realize that Mark Ripperger has a good pitcher's plate.
There's strike 3, second looking strikeout for Derek Holland today. And here's your Sox math question. This being the last day of the series, we're going to give the winner to the most creative response. Number of home runs Matt Davidson had before the All-Star break, plus the jersey number of the guest who visited the booth in yesterday's 3rd inning. The retired White Sox player who was in here in the 3rd inning, his jersey number. And again, not the first correct answer today, #SoxMath on Twitter, but the most creative representation of that answer. Send in pictures, send in whatever text you'd like, and we'll pick out our most creative response and give a prize to you. Last day of the series. Got to give equal time to the left brain and the right brain people. One and 0 on Kyle Seager. There's a golf shot deep to right field. Avi Garcia has no play, and Seattle's on the board with yet another home run in this series. That's number 4 for the Mariners in this 3-game set, and it's 5-1.
Other surprising things for the Mariners this year. Last year, they hit 223 home runs. This year, not near the same pace as Seager hits his 12th, drives in his 49th. That's home run number 105, so a long way to go to get to where they were last year.
This one will not be number 106. It's a fly ball out for Guillermo Heredia. Holland allows the home run, but it's only a solo shot, and it's 5-1 Sox after 3.5. For NIU Day, Sunday, July 30th. Sox take on the Cleveland Indians. It's at 1:10 p.m. and you can buy the specially priced ticket package to get your game ticket and a one-of-a-kind White Sox NIU hat. Hats are limited to the first 1,000 purchases, so get yours today. To buy the specially priced ticket package, go to whitesox.com/NIU.
A new pitcher coming in the ball game, and it is Emilio Pagan. So a short outing for Moore as he goes 3 innings. There you look at the numbers on Pagan, on for the 5th time. ERA at 4.22, but 11 strikeouts in 10 2/3. That's good. And he inherits a 4-run deficit.
So the early gong for Moore today. 3 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs, and 1 strikeout for the Major League rookie. And 2 strikes on Tim Anderson, who singled and scored back in the 2nd inning.
For Seattle, it's going to be very interesting for Mel Stottlemyre, their pitching coach, and Scott Service, the manager, to see how Moore bounces back from what is his first very tough outing in this, his 4th major league start. For the pitchers who have dominated at various levels, as Moore did, when you get to the major leagues and you have some tough outings, you never really know how they're going to handle adversity, because they haven't had a whole lot of it, because they've dominated in a lot of different areas, including at Oregon State.
And strike three. Pagan comes in and immediately gets Tim Anderson. Strikeout number 2 today for Mariner pitching. And here's Omar, who created some of the offense back in the second.
He got a fastball thigh high, inner portion, and took it out. His first home run of the year, second of his career, giving him 8 driven in on that 2-run blast. Tim Anderson getting the high fives before Omar got his. They're congratulating him for running so nicely around the bases.
Sox dugout is a trip this year.
Well, they have a lot of fun, and they try to keep it as entertaining as possible.
Favorable count for Omar. Home run in the second came on an 0-1 pitch. In the air, left side, and foul.
Pagan went to Gardner-Webb before transferring to Belmont Abbey College. Not exactly baseball powerhouses, but Belmont Abbey has 9 players drafted, but the highest ever drafted was Pagan. That was the 10th round.
Gardner-Webb, the former basketball home of Artis Gilmore, I believe.
He was pretty good. Very tall.
Very tall. Three and one. Ball 4. Omar takes a walk. It's number 19 of his year compared to 21 strikeouts. Show you what you can win for Sox Math today. Answers are still trickling in. You can win the All-Star Game koozie, the baseball that came into the booth back on the 1st of July. Jedi Southpaw. You can't win the gnome. You can win the fun meter though and ratchet up your fun at home. Does it for you. Alan Hansen in the air to the right side, and Ben Gamel has out number 2 in his glove. Narvaez is back to first base. Well, today is the first day that Jose Quintana is pitching for somebody else in the major leagues. Quintana,
he's doing it pretty well, by the way.
Yeah. Still 4-0.
6-0 as the Cubs shutting out Baltimore. That game in the top of the 6th. Q has given up just 2 hits and no runs through 5.
Would be folly to expect much different for one of the most consistent pitchers you'll find in Major League Baseball over a half-decade span.
I think that the Cubs will be very happy with that deal. I thought of all of the guys being offered, the best total package they could have gotten was the man they got, Jose Quintana.
Sanchez to left field, and Motter drifting for out number 3. So the walk doesn't do any harm, and the Sox finish the 4th up 5-1. Farm Report. It's presented by
Ozinga.
Yoan Moncada is the subject of our Farm Report today, presented by
Ozinga.
Batting average of .341 the last 12 games, 3 homers, 8 driven in. Charlotte did lose 9-4 yesterday as the Pitmasters. They changed their name for a day for a whole barbecue jaunt.
And Yoan went 2 for 5 with a homer and 2 runs scored. He's also had a hit in 11 of his last 12 games with 4 multi-hit games. And he's doing just about everything you'd expect him to do for a guy who undoubtedly is going to be a quality major league player.
Well, we know about his power potential and we know about his ability with the bat, but it is nice to see that he's 5th in the International League in stolen bases with 17 as well.
He probably has, well, I know he has the ability to steal 60 if he wants to, but when you got a guy with power from both sides of the plate, I'm not sure if you want to see him stealing that many bases, because he's a guy that, depending on where they hit him, but he's got a very good chance to be a run producer and a prolific run producer.
Little half swing looper to left for Ben Gamble, who has hit lefties very well this year to the tune of .333 coming in. Just flicked it out there for hit number 3 for the Mariners today.
One of the reasons why he's hit so well against the lefties is he's willing to concede that there are certain pitches, lefty-lefty, that he's not going to be able to hit for power. This being one of them. It's low and away, and he just goes out, makes contact, and good things happen if you do that. That's the reason why that batting average is in the 320s, but the batting average against lefties is very strong for him, as are the balloon animals.
You ever learn how to make balloon animals?
That was one of the things I used to do in the summertime back in Cleveland, because, you know, you couldn't go on any water anywhere around the city in those days.
Because the water was burning?
Occasionally, the Cuyahoga River did catch on fire, but that was isolated instance twice.
So you actually did make balloon animals?
No, I thought it would be a good story, though.
Oh. We'll add that for the 71 stories for your 71st birthday. 2 strikes on Zunino against Derek Holland. Inside, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Zunino's got pretty good power, and this is a guy that was drafted a very high #1, I believe 3rd pick in the draft, and they've been waiting for him to come around. They've sent him to the minor leagues to work on a lot of aspects of his game, and against lefties he has shown that power.
On the ground, Anderson can't get there, and Ben Gamble's up to second base. The Mariners have a rally bubbling here in the 5th.
That's a curveball, and that's one of the things in this stretch that Derek is on. That curveball hasn't been breaking sharply enough, although today it's been good. There was one that came up, settling gradually, not breaking sharply, and Zunino was able to guide it through the left side.
So 2 on, nobody out for Taylor Motter. And there is a strike. One thing Derek Holland has never been shy about is throwing inside the right-handed batters.
That's his comfort pitch. That's where he wants to go, all things being equal. He'll show you the pitch away, but when he needs to get you out, more times than not, he'll go inside, preferably under the hands of the righties.
Told you Motter's out of Coastal Carolina University in lovely Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
A friend of mine is moving there.
Huh. You gonna go visit?
Hopefully not.
It's the Grand Strand. Why would you not want to go to Myrtle Beach? I was In the Carolina League, they have a Myrtle Beach affiliate. We've seen some video from there. It's now the Cubs affiliate. It used to be the Braves affiliate. And in minor league baseball, we've talked about you have Kangaroo Court, right?
Yes.
So you get fined for whatever it might be. And sometimes the fine money goes to a better clubhouse or whatever it might be, as Anderson is there to pluck it and flip it wildly into the infield. Bases loaded. Nobody out.
Unfortunately, instead of thinking about 1, Tim was thinking about 2, and he's going to pick up his 21st error of the year. Opens it up for a very big inning, as the bases now are loaded and nobody out.
That's the leading error number in Major League Baseball right now, 21 for Tim Anderson at shortstop. So bases loaded for Segura, who's only seen 3 pitches in 2 at-bats so far today. There's a strike. To finish the point, the coaching staff decided that we were in Myrtle Beach. We're going to have a really nice steak dinner with all the fine money from the players.
That's good.
It's a good expenditure.
It's very
for all
good.
of them for Kangaroo Court. Foul ball 0-2 on Segura. Valencia to follow, then Robinson, Cano. So Derek Holland would do well to deal with the guys before the All-Star Game MVP.
Segura's grounded into 8 double plays. The 9th would be welcomed. You absolutely trade the run for 2. Segura does not strike out all that often. Able to stay alive somehow. Segura, who reworked his stroke a couple of years ago, and it's 2 years where he's probably going to wind up at 300, both of them.
Line to left field. Melky Cabrera is right there. Gamble tags from third, and he scores. So the sacrifice fly for Segura makes it 5-2.
That's the first sacrifice fly of the year for Gene Segura. Drives in his 30th run. Unfortunately, this one right at Melky, because it was a rocket.
Segura, by the way, coming into the day, 4th best in Major League Baseball after an 0-2 count at 333, and there he was down 2 strikes and still found a way to get himself an RBI.
Yeah, that's really a great stat, a great quality to have. The fact is, as the situation gets a little more difficult for you, you get tougher.
The best 0-2 hitter in baseball coming into today was Joe Mauer at 408.
Not surprising, because Joe doesn't really overswing at much of anything, and he's not that concerned about power. So normally, when you're not a big power hitter, you're going to do pretty well in that category, and Mauer's at the top.
Guy we'll see coming up very soon, Justin Turner of the Dodgers, also on that list, and what a reclamation he has been.
And as one Seager departs, another Seager comes to town.
Pete?
He would be the 3rd Seager that would come to town.
Kyle's here now. Corey will follow. It's funny reading about the Seagers. At one point, Kyle, who's the oldest of the Seagers, said that he had Corey just to come to batting practice one day after Kyle had been called up by the Mariners, and he let him take BP for a while, and he thought, oh boy, my high school kid brother is hitting the ball better than I am. This might not be a great thing.
Well, the Dodgers are very happy that they were able to get him, because he's turned out to be quite a player. Seager and Cody Bellinger, pretty good youngsters for the Dodgers.
In the air, left field. That ball is tattooed by Danny Valencia, and he ties the game at 5.
10th home run of the year. And unfortunately, 46 driven in. That one was up in the zone. And Valencia, who we've told you consistently makes a living hitting left-handers, with a double and a homer. And just like that, a 5-5 game.
Double figures in home runs for Danny Valencia now this year, and the Mariners continue to put up big home run numbers in the series, with 3 of their 4 runs yesterday on homers, 3 of the 4 in the opener, and now today 4 of the 5 on home runs. Cano had a home run 2 nights ago in the opener, that decisive 3rd inning 3-run shot.
That will make it now 21 home runs surrendered by Derek Holland in less than 100 innings.
Two and 1, Holland to Cano. Derek has stayed away this entire sequence. This one climbs into the air off Cano's bat, and Alan Hansen skates in for out number 2 as we give you our Sox Math answer for today. Here's the question. 18 homers for Davidson, 14 is Canerco's number, 32 was your answer, and Ashley 22 Sanders is your winner. Here's the tweet. Hope this answer isn't too cheesy for you. She's taken some cheese crackers and assorted them in a 32 pattern.
You gotta like that.
Some question about whether the 5-second rule applies, especially when the numbers add up to 5. Ground ball, shortstop Tim Anderson, and that will retire the side. But Seattle has gotten all the way back. Valencia's 3-run homer ties the game. It's 5-all after 4.5. Look forward to Subaru post-game live, and the hope is that the Sox can retake the lead here pretty quickly after the Mariners scored 4 in the top of this inning. Melky Cabrera first. And on that Nationals trade, we've talked about it before. I think Sean Doolittle has some of the best stuff we've seen out of a bullpen this year.
Yeah, I think that they got exactly what they wanted. If they do close with Doolittle, and you would expect that they would, then Madsen is an excellent setup man.
Melky to right field. That ball hangs up a while, and Ben Gamble takes advantage for out number 1.
Gamble's had a nice series, and we've seen him do a lot of things. And so far, he's been equal to the task with each and every one of them. Swings the bat well, can field, doesn't matter if it's right or left field, where we've seen him a lot. He also has pretty decent speed, so coming over from the Yankees, Seattle's got themselves a pretty good player.
His compatriot in right field, Mitch Haniger, made maybe a game saver Friday night against Jose Abreu in the 9th inning.
And Haniger has a hand issue. That's one of the reasons why he's not in the lineup today. But that catch he made on Friday night was just outstanding and changed a whole inning.
Abreu looked like he might have struck out on the prior pitch of that sequence in the 9th inning Friday night, then served a ball to right field, and Haniger made a wonderful play to keep the tying run from coming to the plate, which it never did in that 9th. Well, if Seattle's going to keep the Sox at bay here offensively, it's up to the bullpen, because the starter Andrew Moore went just 3 today. In the air left side. Segura backpedaling, still going, and Segura into Heredia for out number 2.
Don't miss an all-new episode of Chicago's favorite sports trivia show, Beer Money, presented by Coors Light, where the fans' sports knowledge is put to the test to take home cash. That's tonight at 7 right here on CSN, or stream it at csnchicago.com/watchlive.
We should have an episode of Beer Money in the booth.
You could certainly do that.
Only if Chuck's asking the questions, though.
We'll get him on one of those evenings where he actually does a post-game live from the booth, which are few and far between.
Although, it seems as though when the post-game show is happening from our booth, the Sox typically don't win. I'd like to see the numbers on live post-game show in the booth and the team record. We'll check in with Chris Kamka for that at a later date. Two and 0 pop-up. Todd Frazier, third base side. This drifts fair and no matter for Seager in a 1-2-3 inning for Pagan, who's been pretty good since coming in the 4th. Tied at 5 after 5. Insider all season long on CSNChicago.com, presented by The Great Escape. Pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, and more. Escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape. By the way, let's wish a happy birthday to one of our favorite people. Gene Honda is celebrating a birthday today.
Well, a very happy birthday to Gene. Gene's got a wonderful voice, and he exhibits that voice in a lot of different venues.
He sure does.
Yes, it's great.
2 strikes on Seager, the longtime voice of the Final Four, Gene Honda, who also is evidently a 1960s CPA with his light that he keeps there. Gene has a roll-top desk in the back of the booth as well.
Really nice that they have the glass up because, you know, a guy froze to death here last night. I'm not sure if you read about that, but it's a horrible situation.
Strike 3. Seager also freezes to death in this at bat. He did not like the call. There is no appeal process for that.
I wasn't exactly happy with this, but it was in the same neighborhood as the pitch before.
If you recall, it was the 6th inning last night when Seager struck out looking as well, and he did not like that one either. As Guillermo Heredia has your prototypical seeing eye single with 1 out in this 6th.
That's what happens when you at least have the possibility of laying down a bunt, because you saw Todd Frazier, he was in at the cut of the grass. That's because Heredia, with pretty good speed, has been known to lay the ball down. So when you draw in the corners, you have much more room to hit the ball by him. At his normal position, Frazier makes that play.
Throw to first, and Heredia is back in. And Ricky Renteria, after the game yesterday, was talking about the errant pickoff throw to first base last night that eventually resulted in the ejection of the Sox manager for the 6th time this year. And what Ricky was arguing was whether or not Felix Hernandez, the pitcher at the time for the Mariners, had committed a balk, or if he had stepped off the pitcher's plate in order to make the throw to first base. Ricky's belief is that if you step off the pitcher's plate and then make a throw, as you would on a pickoff attempt, you should get 2 bases, because the pitcher then becomes a fielder, and that changes the status of a ball out of play.
Yes.
It is a creative argument that did not bear fruit last night and resulted in the ejection. So here's a look at the throw. It was not a good throw at all. Tim Anderson was given second base. And if you take a look, he does step off the rubber, but the umpire's argument is that there is one section in the rule that suggests that a pitcher, no matter his status on or off the plate, is a pitcher on that pickoff, and so it is one base. But it's something that Ricky Renteria went out to argue, and I think reading between the lines of his reaction, he was frustrated that he didn't have a little more rope as he was thrown out walking back toward the dugout. In the air left side, Tim Anderson is back. Melky Cabrera is in, and Cabrera makes the catch for the 2nd out of this 6th inning. Sox, by the way, have 11 ejections so far this year, and the first one came on May the 7th.
They were a late starting crew as far as getting the heave-ho are concerned, but they've come on strong later in the season. Rick, by the way, leads all major league managers in ejections, and something that he's not used to having all that often, but he's in one of those streaks where going out to defend your players, which a lot of good managers are going to do that. You go out to defend your player many times to keep them in the game, make sure that they're getting the benefit of whatever call happens to have been called.
He's having a career year.
He is having a career year. One in a dubious department. You don't want to lead the major leagues, certainly in those. So Swarzak continues to work and is ready to go if Derek Holland needs some help.
But in one way you do, considering what you just said in terms of protecting your players and defending them, as the second base umpire Phil Cuzzi nearly caught one, and now the throw on to third is bouncing off the railing. Zunino is up into second base after the bobble by Hansen, the inexperienced center fielder. So it's second and third for Seattle with 2 down in the 6th.
It could be 2 errors on this one. You would think it would be 2 errors, as this would be 1 error. And this would be the second error. As what happened with Derek on that play is Derek got too close to Frazier. And you have to back up far enough so if the ball does get away, you have some sort of a chance it caroms off a body part of either the runner or the defender. But if you're too close, as Derek was there, you get trapped sometimes, and so you get the error for allowing the base runner to go to third and the error allowing the trailer to go to second.
If you're wondering why there would be 2 errors, and you might not be considering they were 2 distinct plays, but as you keep score, if you're new to keeping score, you have to account for every movement along the bases. So the runner going to third was one thing, but Zunino was not going to second until the errant throw got away. Had he been moving towards second on the throw initially, you could have only issued the 1 error, but because he was not on the move until the ball got away, the second error is very reasonable and apt.
And Bob Rosenberg got it right on the money.
As he always does.
As he occasionally does.
We'll round up, Rosie. You have 2 fans in this booth. Two and 0 on Motter. Now 2 balls and a strike. This is the 9-hitter Taylor Motter with Segura on deck. And now 3 errors in the game for the Sox after 3 from the Mariners yesterday.
Derek wants to stay in this one. You've got to get Motter. He's behind in the count, but you get a guy in the on-deck circle that's been swinging it very well in Gene Segura.
Segura is the best hitter against right-handed pitching in Major League Baseball. So Swarzak warming up. That's not to say that Segura is not a very good hitter against left-handers either. He is, but he has seen right-handers tremendously well this season, so it's not a slam dunk that you would say let's go righty-righty against this guy.
But Swarzak did face him last night. 1 time, struck him out looking.
It was in a 5-pitch at bat in the 7th inning. Ball 4. Bases loaded, 2 out, and we shall see if the trigger is pulled. And in fact, it will be. There have been times where Ricky Renteria has been told by Derek Holland, I'm good, and he will stay in. Let's see what the conversation is here.
Oh, he makes a call. Yeah. Tapped him on the shoulder, said good job, and Anthony Swarzak will come in. So as Holland departs, we'll step out. Be back after these messages.
The ultimate all-inclusive White Sox experience at Guaranteed Rate Club or the Magellan Scout Seats. These two premium seating areas are the best way to entertain your most important clients, employees, friends, or family, and are available for season ticket packages or individual games. For more information, 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com/premium seating. Big spot here, Stoney.
It is indeed, and our Hyundai call to the pen is Anthony Swarzak. He inherits the bases full of Mariners, on for the 37th time. He's 4-3, ERA of 2.5. Got 2 outs in the inning, and he's facing a red-hot hitter.
That is ball number 1 to Segura, whose sac fly in the 5th made it 5-2 at that point. As Swarzak this year has seen essentially a career low number in inherited runners who've scored under 30%, 8 for 27. His best was 28.5% in 2011 with Minnesota, but then it was up from there. And so he has successfully saved other people's ERAs this season quite a bit. Heredia, Zunino, and Motter are on for Seattle in a 5-5 tie. That ball bounces away and will get a run home. Heredia scores, and the Mariners take a 6-5 lead.
That's just the second wild pitch of the year for Anthony Swarzak as he throws a slider. Omar Kent keeping in front of him. And the run scores. Charge to Holland.
So Seattle, which was down in this game by the count of 5-0 after 3, has scored 6 unanswered to take a 6-5 lead. Three balls and a strike on Segura with Danny Valencia, who's got 2 extra base hits today, coming up next. Three and 1. Shanked foul by Segura. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
That was a slider that had the middle of the plate, so Anthony caught a break as Segura could not put it in play.
Seattle had 3 base runners in the first 4 innings. The Mariners have had 7 in the last 2 innings. Payoff pitch coming on Segura. He chases after it for strike 3, and Anthony Swarzak gets the strikeout he wanted, but Seattle takes the lead on the wild pitch. So 6-5 Seattle on National Ice Cream Day at the ballpark.
Hold on, we still might go to TV though.
podcast brought to you by Wintrust. We break down the crosstown trade. How big of a trade is it, you ask? What does it mean for the White Sox, you ask? Subscribe to the podcast.
How big of a trade
today.
is it? What does it mean for the White Sox?
I can't tell you. You got to watch the podcast, and to do that, you have to subscribe today.
Let me correct Derek Holland's line. I said 8 hits, 5 2/3, 7 hits, 6 runs, 4 earned, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts for Holland today. There's some crosstown fans being nice to each other. That's good to see.
And it's coming up. Home and home. 2 games in each venue.
Monday through Thursday of next week. Sox will be in Kansas City before that. And the old half and half jersey. You know, it's funny people's reactions to that jersey. Some folks will say, yeah, that's how you need to do it. You're just a baseball fan. And then the other people in this town will say, there's no way I would be caught dead wearing that jersey. You cannot possibly put me within 500 yards of that jersey. Javi Garcia trying to make it a 3-homer day.
Home and home series with the Cubs. 2 day games at Wrigley Field, and then 26th and 27th 2 night games here at Guaranteed Rate.
Some tickets are still available for the 2 games at Guaranteed Rate Field we're sure about, but again, the message is get here early, considering the lines and the amount of people trying to filter into this stadium. 2-2 on the ground. Segura nips Avi for out number 1. Time now for America's fastest growing sensation, where we quiz Steve about his own career. Which Mariner hit 2 homers at Old Comiskey during your years with the White Sox?
Well, I know one that Bob Stinson hit. That one wound up winning the game.
Oh, really?
I'm not bitter about it, though.
No, you didn't sound it.
No. Rupert, I don't know. I'll have to take Stinson, although I think Dan Meyer hit me well, too.
That's through the left side. Base hit for Davidson. So the tying run at first with 1 out in the 6th.
Mariner bullpen up and going. This is the 3rd inning of work by Pagan, who's done a nice job to this point. That's the first hit he's given up. He did walk Narvaez in the 4th inning.
So it's James Pazos, the left-hander, up and loosening. Seattle's bullpen hasn't allowed a run in the last 12 1/3 now. Let's change that.
Well, it's been very good for a bullpen that had some problems earlier in the year, and certainly big problems last year. They had 25 blown saves last year. That was 2nd most in the American League.
Tim Anderson in search of his 3rd multi-hit game in his last 5. He has a single in the 2nd so far today, and a strikeout in the 4th. How good's Pagan been out of the bullpen so far? Just a couple of base runners allowed.
That fastball up that he's throwing is very lively because, I mean, it's a good fastball. It's 94-95. It just seems to have a little extra life when it's upstairs.
Two balls and a strike, and here are the first 2 games As we told you about earlier, 7 innings out of the bullpen, 4 base runners, 10 strikeouts.
And 3 of the pitchers the same in 2 of the games. Zick, Vincent, and Diaz. Cishek picked up an inning for them last night, but as you can see, they've been untouchable to this point.
Question is, as that ball was tipped foul, question is, if you're Scott Service, do you tax your 3 headliners in the bullpen? If this game stays 1 run, do you tax them 3 straight games out of the All-Star break?
I really don't think you could. You might, depending on how versatile these guys are, you might use one of them, but you're going to Houston from here. And Houston, as all of you know who have watched any baseball this year, the Astros are unbelievably good this season.
In the bigger fish to fry department as well, after that trip to Houston, the Mariners play Boston and the Yankees. Those are 3 teams they'll be directly competing with in terms of playoff positioning.
Yeah, and you don't want to go into any of those series with teams that can hit as they can with a tired bullpen. So that's one of the things. And that's, you know, Scott was a front office guy. He's in the early stages of his career as a manager. He was a major league catcher and a pretty good one. But utilizing your bullpen is really the key, and making sure they're healthy as you get down the stretch is of vital importance.
That's up high, ball 4. Tim Anderson with walk number 10, and maybe a sign of fatigue beginning for Pagan.
He's not going to get any more fatigue because Scott Service is walking out. That usually means that it's time to go to the lefty, because that's who's loosening in the pen. So Pazos will come in the ball game, and after a very strong 2 1/3 innings of work, Pagan is going to depart this one, and as he does, so will we. We'll be back.
Podcast The Cycle. Comedian and Chicagoan Pat McGann, along with a rotating group of co-hosts, chats with athletes and celebrities about sports, life, and everything in between. Subscribe via your podcast app today.
Our Hyundai call to the pen is the left-handed slants of James Pazos. He's 2-2, his ERA just over 3. On for the 36th time, so he's been a busy man, and 44 strikeouts and 35 1/3 would lead you to believe he's got very good stuff. Left-handers have done very little with him. In fact, overall, nobody's hit him very well. And so Kevin Smith will come on. He's going to pinch hit for Omar, who had a perfect afternoon before his departure.
This is for lefty, 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 righty purposes against Pazos in his first full season in the majors. Smith on the ground to first base. Valencia spins it to second to get one. The coverage is there, and it's a double play. One pitch and 2 outs to extract the Mariners from trouble in the 6th inning. 6-5 Seattle to the 7th. Into town on Tuesday, and this is Cody Bellinger, the rookie, the son of Clay Bellinger, who had himself a base hit, had himself a home run against the Marlins, has himself a gapper in this case, and the 4th hit makes it a cycle for Cody Bellinger. Not the greatest play in right field, but it's a cycle for Bellinger, the rookie for the Dodgers. 63 and 29, 5th cycle in the majors this year, and that team ERA at 3.13. Second place is the Diamondbacks at 3.48. I mean, the Dodgers have the best pitching staff by far in Major League Baseball, and they are coming in for 2 Tuesday and Wednesday with Clayton Kershaw scheduled to throw in the opener.
Yeah, that usually is not a real good thing when you match up with Kershaw, who's just 14 and 2 with a 2.18 ERA. Kenta Maeda, who will throw the second of the 2-game series against Carlos Rodon, and that being Wednesday night.
It's the hottest team in baseball, 28-4 their last 32. This is, if you're the Sox, it's the wrong time to play them, but if you're entertained by great baseball, I'd stop by the ballpark on Tuesday and Wednesday, because this is a juggernaut team out of the National League.
And you're going to see some of the better young players around. So the Dodgers have been not only entertaining, but they've done everything right. The biggest thing might have been re-signing Kenley Jansen, because he was a free agent. A lot of teams were bidding for him, and the Dodgers were able to retain him.
Los Angeles leading today in the bottom of the 8th inning at Marlins Park, 3-2. Yankees are leading Boston 3-0 in the bottom of the 9th. So New York, after looking in danger of losing a game yesterday, Matt Holliday a 9th inning home run. Now the Yankees might make it 2 straight days picking up a game on the Red Sox.
And this was a series where the Yankees had to make something happen if they were going to get substantially closer. They get blown out in this series, they could wind up back far enough where, although, you know, division title hopes are not dead, but they would have been in trouble. They win this ball game today, they're 2.5 games in back of Boston, and in a tie with Tampa heading into action.
They do have a doubleheader game 2 tonight as well, and Tampa is on the road at the Angels. How about the Rays, though? 2.5 back starting play.
Winners of 4 in a row. It's been pretty good year so far, and one where they might have to rearrange their thought process, because probably a month ago they were thinking of being sellers, and everybody was talking about Chris Archer, or they were talking about Alex Cobb. They were saying, you know what, they got some starting pitchers, they're not in it, they'll divest themselves, and let's go down there to make a trade. Well, Tampa Bay is knocking at the door, not only the wild card but the division, and it looks like they're not going to be sellers.
3-2 on Valencia, and he swings and misses. Strike 3, 1 down.
Good fastball on the outside corner, and Valencia, who crushes the left-handers, having some problems with the right-handed slants of Anthony Swarzak, who it appears will depart this one in favor of Dan Jennings. So that's it for Swarzak. Jennings will come in. We will step out. We'll be back. And it's the ever-present Dan Jennings, who's getting yet another appearance. This is 44th of the year. He's 3-1, ERA 4.26. There you look at the numbers. He's being brought on to face a guy who's been very quiet today, Robinson Cano, named after Jackie Robinson.
Dan Jennings has appeared now in every game after the All-Star break. And a first pitch swing from Robinson Cano in the air left side. Tim Anderson for out number 2. And here's your answer for Sticks and Stone today. You said Stinson, right?
I did.
Let's see if it is Bob Stinson. Oh, sorry.
I knew Dan hit me. 2 home runs at the old Comiskey Park, huh? Well, I didn't get him out much when he was with the Seattles. Didn't get him out much when he was with the Tigers.
Why not?
Left-hand hitter.
That's the only reason.
That is the only reason.
Intentional walk, by the way, for Nelson Cruz. So the Sox will take the roll of the dice with Seager, who again, in terms of batting average, has pounded left-handers this year at .339 entering the game today.
Probably the most memorable Seager moment against our Sox came in the 14th inning at Seattle, in a game that saw the Sox score 5 runs in the top of the 14th. They had gotten one of them back with the bases loaded, and Seager up hit a grand slam in the bottom of the 14th to tie it up.
We're all trying to forget that. Thank you very much. Here's a throw to first, and Tim Anderson sinks the Mariners here in the 7th. 6-5 your score at stretch time. Departments Thursday, August 10th for Police and Fire Night. First 10,000 fans get a special Police and Fire Night commemorative T-shirt presented by UL. For more than a century, UL has been committed to fire safety. Learn more at ul.com/fire. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/PDFD or call 866-SOX-GAME.
We got some defensive changes for you. Gerard Dyson comes in the ball game where he started the first 2 games of the series in center field, and Heredia shifts over to left field with Taylor Motter leaving the ball game.
Dyson will come up 4th in the top of the 8th inning. He bats 9th now in for Motter. And the Sox trying to make a comeback of this thing. Have Hanson, Sanchez, and Cabrera, 3 switch hitters, coming up in the 7th.
The Mariners pretty well used to games very similar to this. They've been 2 close games in the series. One a 1-run game, the other a 2-run game. Last year, the Mariners had 60 1-run games. They played 60 of them.
And again, according to the new collective bargaining agreement and its terms, if you're a substitute the first inning you're in the game, you must have your name over your head.
There's no question. And normally, either the first or second hitter hits you a fly ball if you're in the outfield.
Tough to write that into a contract, but
Yep, I mean, look, I'm just here to report it. I didn't
you're
negotiate.
Just a journalist. Ball and no strikes on Alan Hansen in his 11th game started for the Sox this year. He's got a fly out to center and a fly out to right. Ball with a strike. Close games galore in this series. Mariners 4-2 in the opener, 4-3 last night. Sox twice have at least started to rally in the 9th inning. Friday night was a 1-2-3 inning, but the ball Jose Abreu hit to Haniger in the 9th could have been different. Still unscored upon Mariner bullpen in this series. And it'll be interesting to watch and see if this game remains 6-5 or close in some way, how Scott Service does maneuver his bullpen. Hansen to left field. That ball is ripped toward the corner and off the DeWalt side. Hansen on his way to second. This is a leadoff double in the 7th.
There's a tying run at second base and a job to do for Yolmer. So Hansen turning around from the right side hits a rocket. And as that one rattles around the DeWalt sign, there's the tying run. Infield in at the corners, anticipating Yolmer's going to bunt it.
Well, with Melky Cabrera on deck, it's pretty much fish in a barrel, runner at third, and 1 out. As Sanchez lays the bunt down in front of the plate, that is a good one, and the throw just barely clips him for out number 1 in the inning. Hansen to third with 1 down for Melky Cabrera, who has 5 hits the last 2 games.
Good sacrifice bunt for Yolmer as he leaves Zunino with only 1 play, and he's got to make a good play to get him. He's out far enough where he's got a pretty good angle on the throw and gets it there just an eyelash ahead of Yolmer, but a fine job of getting him over. That is the 5th sacrifice for Yolmer this year. He does that well, and he does it well from both sides of the plate.
And he's also a possibility to bunt for a hit there, so there are dual prongs to that choice. Infield in for Melky. To third, and save at third base. Toward first is a 1-hopper, and it does pick up the out. Seager trying to cut down Hansen, couldn't do it, but there are 2 out.
Well, this was a really good play, very aware by Seager. It's a rocket right at him. He tries to get Hansen at third. He can't. But from his knees, the throw to first base on 1 hop, and he cuts down Melky. Now he's got to extricate himself from that tag attempt and get it there. He got it there in plenty of time. But a good piece of base running as far as Hansen was concerned, because normally it's easy to get trapped off on a rocket. He was able to get back in before the tag on the hip. Scott Service is coming out now as Pazos is giving up a couple of hard hit balls.
Boy, that's a high baseball IQ play from Seager,
it
too.
is.
Just
And
knowing the lay of the land there.
And he's been that type of player since he's come in. So that's going to be it for Pazos. And we will step out as he walks out. Watch Chicago baseball as CSN hosts a Miller Lite viewing party. You can join Sierra Santos at Stony Point in Mokina. You can watch Chicago battle Kansas City and enjoy ice-cold Miller Lite plus special giveaways. Our Hyundai call to the pen is the sidearm submarining slants of Steve Cishek. Much tougher on the right-handers. We saw him for an inning in last night's game, on for the 19th time. And you look at the numbers, they're pretty good. Opponents hitting 196. Tying run 90 feet away.
Righties just 8 for 40 against Cishek this year, and he pumps in strike one to Abreu.
He did not see Jose in his one inning of work last night. He did give up a base hit. He did give up a walk, but no runs.
Slider, ball one. Todd Frazier scheduled next, then Avi Garcia, who has 2 home runs today. Sox were up 5-0, then the Mariners scored 6 unanswered.
National League total for Cishek, 2.82 lifetime ERA. American League totals, 2.81 lifetime ERA.
Is that about 290 overall?
I'm just guessing it's around 282 overall.
2 balls and a strike. And a frisbee for strike 2.
Very quick breaking sidearm slider. That's why the right-handers have so much difficulty with it.
Remember the slider Jeff Nelson used to have with Seattle. Third, there, tie ball game. Jose Abreu comes through. It's an RBI double.
Not only the RBI double, but the first run scored against the Seattle bullpen in this series. And this slider was on the outer third, probably not exactly where he would have wanted it, as he takes it down the line Seager can't get to it. That one charged to Pazos.
Todd Frazier fouls it right back to Avi Garcia in the on-deck circle. Jose Abreu with his 32nd multi-hit game, which is 5th in the American League. The consistent fourth-year White Sox player continues to put up numbers. Did not go. Didn't even think that was worth an appeal. 2-1.
Well, I mean, nothing to lose for a catcher to point down there, but Todd didn't come close to swinging that time.
That's ball 3, and Todd Frazier has been an outstanding hitter this year. After 3-1, he has the 8th best batting average in Major League Baseball once he gets to a 3-1 count.
2-0, 3-1, 2 best hitting counts in baseball.
He takes ball 4 this time. Nothing good for him. 2 on, 2 out for Avi Garcia. First 2 times up today, a home run for Avisail Garcia. A solo shot, a 2-run homer, and with 1 swing here, he can make it a 3-run homer and give the Sox the lead. Let's see. Avi about half the time swings at the first pitch, as he did in the 2nd inning for the home run, and here he fouls it away.
We'll take a look at first home run in the 2nd. And then we'll take a look at the 2-run blast in the 3rd. Not much doubt about either one as Avi breaks out of his home run drought in a big way.
First Sox player to hit a home run in consecutive innings since Jose Abreu did 3 seasons ago. That marvelous 2014 for Jose Abreu. He's at 2nd, Frazier at 1st.
You know, for Jose, it's one thing to burst on the scene. He was an accomplished player in Cuba. He came here. A lot of guys didn't have much of a scouting report on him, so he has that big first year. And then you wonder, when the league adjusts to him, as they tried to do and have tried to do for 3 years, this being his 4th year, would he be able to adjust with them? And the answer, obviously, is a resounding yes.
Count 1-2 on Garcia. Matt Davidson to follow. And the Sox have solved the Mariner bullpen for the first time in this series to the tune of a run. Strike 3, inning over. 2 stranded, 5 for the game. But each team has 6 runs as we go to the 8th in a tie.
fan cam. Bring the fun home.
Coca-Cola Family Sunday at the ballpark. And the Itsy Bitsy Spiders here, too.
A lot of young people in attendance. And it is National Ice Cream Day, and there's an example of why we have a day for it.
It's also why we have napkins.
Also National Cleanup Day. And we got a new pitcher coming in the game. It is Tommy Kahnle on for the 37th time. His ERA a touch above 2.5. 58 strikeouts to 7 walks in 35 innings. And he's facing the bottom part of the order in a brand new game, tied at 6.
Guillermo Heredia, Ben Gamble, Mike Zunino scheduled for Seattle. Gerard Dyson would follow. Still 3 available position players for Scott Service late in this game. By the way, congratulations to the White Sox RBI teams. The senior team won 4-1 against Milwaukee today. The junior team 10-1 against St. Louis. RBI team with fantastic work last year to pick up that trophy that we saw. This is the regional round from yesterday, and they moved along in the tournament to today, the regional championship. And both teams won in that regional championship with those finals we previously indicated. Kevin Coe and his group do such a magnificent job with that RBI program, the ACE program as well. The Double Duty Classic coming up in this ballpark on Thursday to celebrate some local youth baseball. Into right center, Hansen playing toward the gap, hops into a catch for out number 1.
That one started to take off on Allen because it was hit awfully hard. Fortunately, Heredia bidding for his second hit of the day. It's it very close to where Allen was setting up. And he actually catches the ball without looking at it, which is not an easy thing to do, but effective in this case.
One down for Gamble. He's got to be part of the all-hair team in Major League Baseball.
He's going to be right up there. If not hitting cleanup, he'll be in the neighborhood.
Most likely to be rescued from a tower by a prince. Ben Gamble. You weren't a big Rapunzel fan?
Yeah, I was after the haircut.
Crew cut Rapunzel, the sequel. 1-1 is in for a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Gamble, who has just had a marvelous season, hitting .322 coming in, slugging at .444, on base .379. Left side, Anderson on the backhand, Tim on the throw, and safe. Abreu was not there on the bag, and Gamble is on with 1 down.
That's a base hit and a good effort by Tim Anderson as he goes to his right. He really doesn't have a chance to set. If he does, Gamble's going to beat it anyway, so the throw is off the mark, but he got it there as quickly as possible, knowing that Gamble's got good speed. Jose does a nice job of coming off the bag. That's your first responsibility. You'd love to keep your foot on the bag, but you have to make sure that Gamble doesn't wind up as the tying run at second base, which he was able to do.
Here's Zunino, who's 2 for 3. .97 from Kahnle for strike 1.
Tommy did pick up an inning last night. Gave up a hit, but then Cano grounding into a double play and a strikeout of Cruz to get out of the 8th inning last night.
was destiny for Mike Zunino to end up with Seattle. He went to Mariner High School in Cape Coral, Florida.
And they used their #1 pick to make Zunino a Mariner.
It's 5 years ago now, and Zunino swings and misses for strike 3. Tommy Kahnle strikes him out, and 2 are away for Dyson.
Some high heat, throws it right by him. So Zunino, who was first-round pick of the Mariners, the 3rd pick overall in 2012, will be locked in at this point, 2 for 4.
Correa, Buxton, Zunino, Gausman, top 4 in 2012. Gerard Dyson takes ball number 1. First at bat today for Dyson, who was in as a defensive replacement for Motter.
Well, the normal situation for Dyson, who doesn't have great power, but he's got some, is to play shallow. You can't really play too shallow in this situation because the go-ahead run is Gamble with decent speed at first. Last night, the 3rd time up for Dyson, he hit one in the gap in right center field. Hit it hard, but Avi was able to go across and make the catch. With that in mind, Avi is way off the line in right center field. They're giving Dyson the entire line, trying to pretty much shore up that gap in right center.
If he pulls the ball down that line, it's basically a guaranteed triple.
Yeah.
1-2 with Tommy Kahnle throwing the ball at 97. That's unlikely.
I was going to say that unless he gets a straight change, or perhaps Tommy decides to throw a slider, not going to be able to pull it down the line.
Gamble at first, 2 down. Ball and 2 strikes from Kahnle. He did get a changeup, and he fouled it away. That's where pitcher and defense sometimes are at cross purposes.
I mean, if he wants to throw that change, it's best to keep it away from Dyson, because that is the one pitch he can pull.
Think about it. I mean, at home, if you're a pitcher and you believe that your best pitch to get somebody out is the changeup, you're going to throw it, but the defense wants to be in a certain position, and sometimes you have to temper your enthusiasm for a pitch, right, based on where the defense is.
Well, you can throw the pitch. You just want to make sure that in this case it would be away from Dyson.
Upstairs fastball. That'll do it for Dyson. Tommy Kahnle, a pair of strikeouts in a row, and we'll play bottom 8 in a 6-6 draw. look. Sounds good. Look forward to it. Thanks, Chuck. First pitch is a strike from Cishek to Davidson. Here in the 8th inning, Sox have scored in the 7th to tie the game after 6 in a row on the board for Seattle. Big slider sweeping out of the zone. 0-2.
That Matt was swinging at the motion as opposed to the baseball, but we'll watch it again, and that one started out briefly a strike and then just kept drifting away.
Can the Sox start up the late inning heroics machine again? On the ground, third base, Seager, fair ball, catch and throw in one motion, and boy is he smooth over at third.
Seager's been a good one since he's come into the league. Apply now for an all-digital no-fee loan now at eclicklending.com. eClick is located in Chicagoland. It's rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. eClick Lending. Boom! Oh, excuse me. Your mortgage just happened. I think that was an oblique that went.
Was that a phlegm bomb?
Oh, no, I think the oblique. It's got to be, well, at least a month.
You're going to be on the DL after your boom. Oh my. The Tim Anderson, who walked in the 6th, singled and scored in the 2nd, struck out in the 4th. Cishek spins a breaking ball for a strike, 1-1. Well, he's thrown it for a strike looking and a strike swinging. He's thrown it both in and out of the zone for success so far in this outing. Tim did not go 2-1. Kevin Smith on deck, the lone remaining catcher after he pinch hit for Omar Narvaez in the 6th. Anderson in the air, right hand side and arching toward foul territory.
Love to get Tim on representing the go-ahead and potential winning run because of his speed. And with nobody up in the pen, Cishek is not difficult to run on because he's got a long, slow delivery that he pretty much unfolds from the side.
Sox trying to avoid the sweep as the Mariners won 4-2 and 4-3 in the first 2 of this series. Brush to third, Seager again, cross diamond peg for out number 2. So it's up to Kevin Smith against Cishek, and you wonder where the Mariners would go if this game stayed 6-all into the bottom of the 9th. They do have Giovanni Gallardo as a bullpen arm who could really be a long man to sop up some innings in a possible extras situation. But again, going back-to-back days to essentially the same guys, Diaz, Vincent, and Zick, you wonder who of that crew would be available. We may find out. In the air, right center, and Gamble for out number 3. Cishek gets him in order, and we'll go to the 9th, tied at 6. Every night, every device, watch every out-of-market regular season game live, plus get a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
We have a new pitcher in the ball game, and it's by an inning for Rick Renteria as he brings in the closer, David Robertson. There you look at the numbers on for the 31st time. ERA of 2.78, 13 for 14 in save opportunities, and a 4-2 record.
You were talking about having good vibes against a certain opponent. David has that against Seattle with a career 1.26 ERA in 28 2/3.
He's got to deal with the top part of the order, so he's got his work cut out for him.
With little Owen Benjaminson's birthday party in peril. Tie game at 6 in the 9th. Happy birthday to Owen, by the way, the son of our producer, Todd Benjaminson. He'll be 6.
There are the scouts. And there are a lot of them.
Ball and 2 strikes on Segura. That guy's back. It's a good look.
Getting a lot of wear out of that. So
It's
I
like-
guess it is wash and wear and wear and wear.
Oh boy, Segura got blasted on 1 and 2, and he's on his way to first base with his 10 stolen bases.
It appeared that he was yelling before he got hit, but that got him flush right above the belt, right in the kidneys. Yikes. So that's the go-ahead run. Painfully aboard at first base.
Ouch. Danny Valencia now. Double in the first, 3-run homer in the 5th. Both of those against left-handed starter Derek Holland, who has since left the game, and the Sox have turned it over to Swarzak, Jennings, Canely, and now Robertson. On the ground, Anderson backpedaling, nearly got handcuffed and still turns toe on a play.
That's the 12th double play grounded into by Valencia. That's second on the ball club. This was a terrific 6-4-3. The retreating Tim Anderson. And he gets it there in plenty of time. Yolmer is very quick. And the question is, will they take another look at it?
Boy, Yolmer is so talented at turning double plays. Does not look like the Mariners are going to challenge, so Robinson Cano will bat with the bases clear. And ball 1, Nick Vincent is up for the Mariners. He is one of those guys that's been used back-to-back days already, but they're going to have to buy some innings somehow in a game that Seattle would love to have to bust out of the chute with 3 in a row after the All-Star break.
The question here, if you're David Robertson, you have a tough left-hand hitter with, even though Cruz is also a good hitter, a right-hand hitter in the on-deck circle. And you've fallen behind Cano 2-0. Dangerous scenario.
Check swing, and that is ball number 3. Edwin Diaz has joined Vincent, so you'd imagine if it stays tied, it would be Vincent.
If not, Diaz.
There's a strike. 3-1 on Robinson Cano, who's 2 for 11 in the series, but his 3-run homer in the 3rd inning Friday night was the game winner.
These guys former teammates, so they know one another very well.
Three and two.
There is a very dangerous Nelson Cruz in the on-deck circle.
We could save him for never. Three and two. On the ground and foul.
Threw a good curveball, and Cano was able to stay alive.
Robbie versus Robbie. David Robertson, Robinson Cano. Nothing has come inside in the sequence. In the dirt, strike 3. Cano gives himself up and the inning's over. Leadoff plunking does no harm. Bottom 9, Sox need 1 with Hansen, Sanchez, and Cabrera coming.
By Miller Lite. Here's our Miller moment, and it's a defensive gem by Derek Holland behind his back, and then couldn't get the ball out of the glove, so flips everything to Jose, who accepts it graciously, gets the put out.
Holland's glove windmilling through the air.
Unusual play. And we've got a new pitcher coming in the ball game, and it is Nick Vincent. He's on for the 3rd time in the series, on for the 40th time overall. There you look at the numbers. He's been very good, but perhaps worn down a touch as the Sox trying to win one late.
Former Padre Nick Vincent against the former Pirate Alan Hansen. They meet in the American League this time. And Hansen, who scored the tying run in the 7th inning on the Jose Abreu RBI double. Strike 1. Vincent, couple years deep now into his Mariners career after being traded before the season last year, right at the end of spring training, for a player to be named later. 60 games out of the pen last year with Seattle. There's that slash by Hansen, and it's foul, 0-2.
Really tough to make solid contact if you're running as you're trying to hit the baseball.
Very difficult within the confines of the box they have drawn out to even do that in the first place. One and two. Nick Vincent, career .279 ERA. And that is over the course of 6 major league seasons, 261 appearances.
For a guy that does not have an overwhelming fastball, those are pretty good numbers. Shows he's got very good control.
256 strikeouts. 61 walks. That's better than 4-1.
Very good.
Fouled off. Still 2-2. Sanchez and Cabrera to follow.
That time it appeared that he left a cutter over the middle of the plate. Allen fouled it straight back.
Well, if Hansen gets on here, you've got some good options with Yolmer and Melky coming up. 2 good bat handlers. First base side, short hop, and Valencia scoops it out nicely for out number 1.
It's pretty good play as Valencia, former third baseman, comes in to smother this one, and that's really the best way to play it. Make sure you pick it on the short hop. If you do pick it, as he did, it takes a pitcher out of the equation.
See if Yolmer Sanchez can duplicate his big home run against Texas. 8th inning homer was a game winner. One of his 4 home runs this year.
Well, he's doing it from the right side, which for Yolmer is the left side.
The correct side.
Yes. 281 from the correct side as opposed to the right side where he's 222. 3 of his 4 home runs coming from the correct side.
On 1-0. True or false? It was a strike. True. Sox fans hoping for a walk-off on this Sunday afternoon. Foul 1-2. Sanchez, then Melky, Cabrera, and Jose Abreu. Sox last played extra innings against the Mariners. It was back on May the 19th.
Vincent's only given up 1 home run this year. That's pretty impressive in 40 appearances.
Ball and 2 strikes. Called strike 3. Got him on the edge. 2 down for Melky.
Melky thought it was wide of the plate. So did Zunino. Yolmer, excuse me, thought it was wide of the plate, and so did Zunino, who dragged it back. And now the aforementioned Melky.
Well, he's been at the center of it for quite a few Sox rallies so far this season. Foul ball. Sox have not played an extra inning game in this ballpark this year. Let's see if Melky could keep it that way.
That's pretty impressive. He wants to add to his major league lead with his 15th walk-off at bat.
Checked his swing and no appeal. 1 ball, 1 strike. David Holmberg, Chris Beck getting loose as Melky tries to render them moot. 1 lefty, 1 righty, as the Sox have already used Swarzak, Jennings, Canely, and Robertson in this game.
If it does go another inning, you got Cruz, Seager, and Heredia. If anybody gets on, Gamble.
Another foul, and that was one of those foul balls that hit the underside of the middle deck and went straight down into his seat, and everybody's all right.
Fortunately.
Ball and 2 strikes. Melky pops it up. Left side of the infield. Seager barks to get everybody out of the way, and we are playing the 10th this afternoon at Guaranteed Rate Field. Sox haven't played extras since May 19th. That changes after this. Fine dining while enjoying a breathtaking view of Guaranteed Rate Field from the Huntington Bank Stadium Club. Memberships are available to season ticket holders, and also it's perfect for non-game day events, including weddings and corporate parties. For more information regarding the Huntington Bank Stadium Club, call 312-674-1000.
The 6th pitcher of the day is Chris Beck. Beck coming on for the 35th time. He's 1-0. His ERA 3.65. Now you look at the rest of the numbers, and he's got to deal with the heart of the order. You would think, however, he would not be around to face Seager, as Holmberg continues to throw in the pen, with Seager swinging the bat from the left side in the on-deck circle.
But again, those reverse splits. I mean, the Sox have played him like a true left-hander, but he has hit lefties pretty well this year. So I'm with you. That looks like it would be the move, but there's some calculus rather than just, hey, plug and play lefty-lefty.
Yeah, but Holmberg's coming in to face him.
Right. Just saying. The other part of the equation is how many relievers can you afford to burn for one batter when you're in an extra inning situation and you only have 4 guys, including Beck, left.
Well, when he comes in, if in fact he does come in to face Seager, he's staying there because you got Heredia, then Gamble coming up after him. So that will be the plan, I believe, but we'll have to see what happens with the resolution of this at bat.
That ball's drilled down the left field line toward the corner, and it is a fair ball, and it is gone. On 3-0, Nelson Cruz pounces.
That's number 19 to go with 73 driven in. That fastball inside, and the only thing for Cruz, could it stay fair long enough? And the answer, of course, was yes. It did, and it is. And Beck will depart, having surrendered the lead. And David Holmberg will come on to face Seager. So we'll step out and be back after these messages. David Holmberg on for the 22nd time. The ERA an even 3. He's on to face Seager, who does have a home run today.
1 for 4 for Seager. Home run against Derek Holland, and a flyout against Holland, and a strikeout against Holland to go along with a 6-3 ground out against Dan Jennings. So the Sox have exhausted their left-handers today, and Holmberg spins in a strike at 71. When you duck out of the way of a strike, you're not seeing the first pitch terribly well. Seager has played a very strong third base today.
I've seen a lot of hitters on occasion do that, though. Drastically duck out of the way of a breaking ball, only to look for a breaking ball in a key situation that same at bat, with the pitcher remembering, whoa, that one fooled him, certainly, buckled the knees, and there he is waiting for it.
Seager into left field. So he continues his success against left-handed pitching this year, and will bring up Guillermo Heredia with a runner on. Mariners gunning for a sweep in this series. Two-run win on Friday night, 1-run victory last night. And Holmberg to first. Seattle has been an early swinging crew in this game today.
Both teams, actually. I mean, the Sox were very aggressive early because of the game plan. Moore throws a lot of first pitch strikes, and he started this ball game, went 3 innings, was his toughest outing of the 4 in the major leagues. But last time out, he threw 89% first pitch strikes. So when you see a number like that, there's no reason to wait around. Why fall behind 0-1 when you are pretty well assured the first pitch is going to be in the zone? Gregory Infante loosening in the pen.
It's either Infante or Minaya left here in the Sox bullpen with 6 relievers thrown in the game so far.
I don't know what it is about this ballpark and Kyle Seager, but he loves to hit here. But the home run he's hit today, that's 8 home runs in 20 career games at Guaranteed Rate Field, including 5 of his last 8 games he's homered in.
2 of the last 2 days.
It's pretty impressive.
Right center field, Hansen's on the case. Seager back to first, 1 down. Sox do have Abreu, Frazier, and Garcia along with Davidson coming up in the 10th inning, so a 1-run game is certainly not far-fetched to come back in.
No, and they're probably going to face Diaz again, and who knows what he's got left, because he was brilliant the first night. Last night, not so good, although he got the job done. It was very shaky. We'll see what he comes out with today.
He may be on a 3rd day in a row. He may be able to tone down the fastball a little bit. You felt like he was overthrowing it
very much so, because the slider was a pitch that he had command of. In fact, that was the last pitch that wiped out Abreu. But before that, that fastball was triple digits, but he was missing his spot by 2 feet. So it looked like he was overthrowing very much. And sometimes a pitcher will do that if he feels his arm might be sluggish. He'll try to throw it too hard. In case of Diaz last night, no conception of the strike zone, but he threw the good slider when he had to.
2 strikes from Holmberg to Gamble. Hansen in left center field. Allen's been busy today, and he makes that catch for out number 2. 8 fly ball outs to Allen Hansen in the game. Holmberg for Zunino. Another first pitch hunt by a Seattle player, and this one goes foul.
Sox with the off day tomorrow. The Dodgers come to town for an abbreviated 2-game series. And the Mariners go to Houston, where they will face the red-hot, very talented Houston Astros.
Been red hot all year long. Seager was off, and Hansen will make his 9th catch of the day on a fly ball. Mariners get a run. Sox try to overtake them, bottom 10 with the 3, 4, 5 hitters coming.
3 for both. Explosive home run hitting clubs, but today there's 6 of them, evenly split, 3 apiece. That was Omar, Avi with a pair, and Seager comes up doing what he always does, which is hit a home run in this ballpark. Valencia, that was a 3-run blast, and then Nelson Cruz untied the game with a 350-foot rocket to left field. And we've got the closer in the ball game. It is Edwin Diaz. He's been on twice in this series, picked up saves 14 and 15. He's blown 3 of them. His ERA at 3.35, 52 strikeouts, 37 2/3. Last night's ball game, no conception of the strike zone. He got out after facing 5 hitters in the 9th, and he's got to deal with Abreu, Frazier, Garcia, if anybody gets on Davidson, and possibly Anderson.
Jose with his 32nd multi-hit game of the year, top 5 in the American League. He takes a strike to start the home 10th. Sox got to Andrew Moore early, 5 earned runs in 3 innings. Couple of those home runs you just saw in the 2nd, then 1 more in the 3rd. And Abreu down quickly, 0-2.
That last pitch was reminiscent of the slider that ended the ball game last night.
See what he's got for him on 2 strikes. Slider for strike 3.
No reason to throw a setup pitch when you figure you can get him out with this. So strike 2 is a slider, strike 3 a slider, and it's a very quick first out.
Seems as though, based on that sequence, the confidence, if it had at all seeped away from Diaz from last night, is back.
Yeah, he's young enough, and every closer has to have a very short memory, because you're going to come back out most likely the next day. And regardless of success or failure, good or bad, control or no control, you got to come back and do the job. So you got to forget what happened any previous game, because it has no bearing on what's going to happen today.
Don't know that he still has much of an idea where the fastball is going after those first 2 to Todd Frazier.
No, his slider's his comfort pitch.
Way outside, 2-1. You would imagine this is a slider here on 2-1 after 3 fastballs that were either out of the zone or close.
That's fastball away.
Got a strike, top of the zone, 2-2.
Yeah, he's very much, he's arm side strong. Meaning when he throws his fastball, he has a hard time with it away from the right-handers, but he feels much more comfortable throwing it in. And of course, right-handed slider to right-hand hitter is usually away.
All fastballs. 2 down.
Well, Zunino felt that rather than think about hanging a slider to Frazier, he would just go to the fastball, and Todd, looking for anything but that, is a strikeout victim. So quickly 2 up and 2 down for Avi, who's looking for his 3rd home run of the day.
Sox in danger of falling to 3-3 in extra innings this year. Beat the Mariners back on May the 19th, 2-1. Getting to Tony Zick. Seattle bullpen only 1 earned run allowed in this series, and 2 strikes away from capping a sweep.
Avi is asking Mark Ripperger if that was a strike. He realizes that You can't hit the ball up there. You just have to lay off. You can't lay off, then you got problems.
Slider 0-2. Just electric stuff out of this bullpen. 13 2/3, 5 hits, 5 walks, 1 run, 15 strikeouts.
Been wonderfully impressive.
Up high, 1-2.
He got lucky, he hung that one, but it stayed well out of the zone. See if Zunino goes back to the high fastball that he threw on the first pitch.
Slider for strike 3. Diaz strikes out the side. Seattle sweeps the Sox.
When your bullpen gives up 1 run in 3 games, most likely you're going to have success. And the Mariners, who last year hit 223 home runs, broke out the long ball here today. The final of which went to Nelson Cruz, which was a game decider. And the Mariners, who played 61-run games last year, only to split them at 30-30. This year, play a lot of close games, but that bullpen has been the difference. So enjoy the off day tomorrow. We'll see you for the Dodgers.
Sounds good. We will see you then. Clayton Kershaw is scheduled on Tuesday. For our producer, Todd Benjaminson, director Jim Angio, associate producer Chris Kampka, tech manager Mark Harper, and the executive producer Jim Corno Jr. and our entire crew. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti. So long from Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago. Coming up next, Subaru postgame live with Chuck and Bill. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on CSN. Have a great end to your weekend.